Greetings, vinyl community people. It's Mike MGK Boston. I was not planning on doing another video today, or this weekend. I didn't do one earlier today. I knocked out one or two yesterday. Today, I saw this thing going around, the Holy Trinity thing. It's just a challenge. It's not a contest. It was recently, I guess it was something from the past. It's been reinvigorated by a guy, Stephen Schnee. Spells his last name Schnee. That's the name of his channel. Stephen spelled Stephen. Stephen Schnee. So anyway, you're supposed to show artists that have more than five or more studio albums in their discography, and pick three consecutive releases that you believe to be the Holy Trinity, or they're really just really freaking good, whatever. So anyway, I picked a few. Some of these are going to maybe seem obvious, maybe not so to other people, but whatever. I just threw this together in a few minutes, so it's just something to do. My wife and daughter just are out for a walk, and I am working on some dinner in the background, so got these things going on. Anyway, let's dig right into it. So, you might have heard of these guys before. It's the Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers from 1971. This is a drug-drenched affair, bluesy. It's super good. I mean, there's a couple of eras with the Stones. You could pick three in a row, but I'm going with these three today. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't put a great deal of thought into this, but I think most people with any basic knowledge of music would agree with me on these. So this is an original here. There's the zipper, the Andy Warhol cover. There's some guy's ass on the back. I don't know if that was Mick Jagger. I haven't listened to this in a while. How do I get this thing open? Oh, here it is. What am I saying? Nice shot of the band on the inside. There's Mick. Looks like he just got up from a nap. I know I did this afternoon. All right, so you've got a lot of good stuff going on here. Kicks it off with Brown Sugar. That's since been canceled from their playlist, unfortunately. Bitch, I Got the Blues, Sister Morphine, Dead Flowers. That's another one that's been done by a lot of other bands too, covered. It's a much covered track. And Can't You Hear Me Knocking. Can't You Hear Me Knocking is probably my favorite on this one. So yeah, kicking off this Holy Trinity with the Rolling Stones and Sticky Fingers. And of course the follow-up to that, right here, it's Exile on Main Street. This is another really solid effort, coming in hot with Rocks Off, Rip This Joint, Tumbling Dice, Sweet Virginia is a good one. Yeah, just this is all good because it's part of this Holy Trinity, so it's excellent. So there you go. There's Exile on Main Street. There's the back. Let's see here. Yeah, a lot of just on the CD reissue. You've got a bunch of different photos. There you get the idea. So that's the Rolling Stones, Exile on Main Street. Original release date on that one, 1972. There's Mick right there. Looks like Mick in a Ziploc. The distorted image on the cover, So this is Goat's Head Soup, of course. Came out right after Exile. Nice gatefold. There's the other guys right there. See on the inside. There's some of the other guys, extras on this. Like you got on horns. What's the guy's name? Jim Horn. On Bobby Keys is the guy I'm thinking of on tenor and baritone. Bobby Keys on the back here. There's Bobby Keys. I think that's him right there. In the corner. Yeah, so Dancing with Mr. D, that's probably my favorite on this one. Silver Train's another good one. Can you hear the music? Do-do-do-do, Heartbreaker. Yeah, so that's the Rolling Stones. That's Goat's Head Soup. Finishing out that one particular Holy Trinity. All right, we'll take a little time machine back to the mid-60s, I believe 1967 on this one. This is the Bee Gees first. These three are really great because they're truly representative of this folk pop origins of the Bee Gees, right? As songwriters and, just great harmonies together, the three brothers, and then these other two guys on the cover are just the sidemen at the time. So anyway, on this one, turn of the century, 1 Minute Woman, New York mining disaster, 1941. Was a single from this that's excellent too. I Close My Eyes. This is all good. I really like this. This is actually a nice Sunday afternoon listening. I may throw this on later. This is an original Atco on it's a mono version of that. So it's the Bee Gees' first start of this, Holy Trinity. Part 2 of the Holy Trinity, it's horizontal. I've seen this one out there on Discogs. There's a few different versions of this cover, depending on where it was pressed or country it was pressed in, but this is the one I have right here. So the year on this one, I believe, is also it's 1968. It's another great year. That's when I came into the world. And speaking of world, there's a song here that kicks this album off called World, and it's a really excellent song, and if I may say so, it's my favorite song on this album. There's also a song on here called, wait for it, Massachusetts, where I reside. It's another good one on here. And the title track, Horizontal, With the Sun in My Eyes, and there they are on the back. The brothers Gibb, Barry Morris, and Robin, and on the front. So that's Bee Gees' Horizontal. Closing out this Holy Trinity of the Bee Gees, it is Idea. And this is another one. It's got a few different covers of it. And you can see on the back here, the guys, and then those two sidemen. Sorry for that late afternoon light zooming in here, but I think that's a caricature of Barry on the front there. Barry Gibb. And just the Atco promo on the inside. It's a cool Atco logo. So Kitty Can is good on this. I Started a Joke is probably one of their most famous songs. You hear that on the oldies stations all the time. In the Summer of His Years and Down to Earth. Those are all good songs you could look up. So that's Idea. That's going to close out this Holy Trinity. And lastly, part 3. I've talked about Bryan Ferry and Roxy Music pretty exhaustively on my channel, but for the purposes of this video, these 3 just fit the criteria, and here they are. So this is the Bride Strip Bear. I want to say this is Ferry's 6th studio album. And this is coming in 1979, I believe, 78. Not sure exactly the year on this one. This was right after his breakup with the soon-to-be girlfriend of Mick Jagger, one Jerry Hall supermodel. So this album, there's some covers on it. There's some originals. J.J. Cale song on here called Same Old Blues. He does a cover of that. He does a version of Take Me to the River here. Believe it or not, that was not an original by the Talking Heads. That was done by Green and Hodges, whoever those two guys are. I'm not sure who that is. That's How Strong My Love Is. That's another good one on here. So yeah, that's Bryan Ferry. The Bride Strip Bear. I don't know if that was in reference to the breakup. I have a feeling it was. The breakup with Jerry Hall. But Bryan Ferry, being who Bryan Ferry was, moved on to other supermodels. And he always had models on his sleeves, and there's some model there looking up at Bryan Ferry, and he's just, Bryan Ferry doing Bryan Ferry stuff. And that's the Bride Stripped Bear. And the follow-up to that a few years later, because he was still in Roxy Music at the time, and he was releasing solo records concurrently while still performing with Roxy Music. So at this point, Roxy Music were no longer. They had done the Avalon album in 1981. This is from 1984, and of course, this is called Boys and Girls. This was the big album where he performed a lot of the tracks from this at Live Aid at Wembley Stadium in London in 1985. This is probably my favorite Bryan Ferry album of his entire catalog. This is at this point where it's just super polished. I'm not sure who his producer was at this point, but it has a defined sound. It's almost like part 2 of Roxy Music Avalon, just super polished. The songwriting, all of these are original compositions. There's no covers on this one. The title track, Boys and Girls, is excellent. Stone Woman, The Chosen One, Don't Stop the Dance, Slave to Love, Windswept. I mean, look, it's kind of screwed up here. It's one side of the album, the front cover is this way, and then when you flip it around, he's upside down. Anyway, there you go. I figured it out somehow. So anyway, that's Boys and Girls, 1984. And closing this thing out, there he is there. This is Bête Noire from 1987. I think 87 or 88. 87. So yeah, I actually saw this tour in the summer of 1988. Really great concert memory. It was an outdoor show in the summertime in Ottawa, Ontario. Really, really great. Any of my Canadian friends watching this? Luba was the opening act for that, if you know Luba. Luba, she just went by the name Luba. I forget what her last name was. I think she was from Quebec. But she kind of had a sound like 80s Heart. So she had that one big album, and the hit every time I see your picture, I cry. It was a big Luba song. You could look that up. I don't have that Luba album to show, but I'm talking about Brian Ferry anyway. But that was just a little tidbit from a concert I attended to a million years ago when I was much younger. So again, this is Bête Noire from 1987, and that's going to close out this Holy Trinity. Just threw this together on a lark and a rush, but that's what I do. I like to do things on the fly. So there's a Holy Trinity for you. Three consecutive solid releases year to year from acts that had more than 5 studio albums total. Look, it looks like I'm saying 10, but I mean 5 studio albums total. But anyway, go over, check out Stephen Schnee's channel. Again, he spells it Schnee. Stephen Schnee is the name of his channel. So anyway, this was some fun, and it's a Holy Trinity.